How about now? How about now? Okay, it's working. Yeah, hey Justin, hey Duck. This is not really going to be that entertaining. I'm just going to be talking and doing this boring crap. It's going to be really repetitive. Because I have to do the same thing on all of these tiles. There's a couple hundred of them. Yeah, he was here probably just before you showed up. Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw you, it was like DMC or something, so quite frankly I wasn't that interested. It's gonna be a survival arena with a lot of custom mechanics. You choose different classes. As you level up, you unlock like abilities for your class, and then your weapons also gain new abilities as well. And like you level up your class and your two weapons individually. Yeah, I know, right? It's just a surprise. Like, you would have thought that. Fuck. There's two of them then that I have to change here. Okay. Okay, it was just that one. Okay. I mean, I don't expect you to play Doom Snapmap every time you stream. It's just what I watch people live streaming for. I can imagine you just hear a bunch of clanking on the keyboard constantly. Oh, what was happening is that at a distance, the sizes, what would happen is that they would start to blend together. Like I have a colored volume and a like a skybox volume, and they're both going to be showing at once. But I want the skybox volume to overlay over it. What happened is that at a distance they just started blending into each other. So I'm just making the sizes more different until I no longer see that that glitching. Like it was as if they were both merged together. I don't know why it does that. I can sort of show what I mean. Might not be too noticeable, but I don't know if you've seen any of this, Justin, but this is a project that I started a year back, and Yeah, I'm just going back to it because I was working on the Stardew Valley reboot, but I'm sort of in a point where I'm just doing a bunch of information on a text document, and I'm not really doing so much actual Snapmap, and so I just sort of figured I should do something else in Snapmap itself. Okay. So, yeah, what's gonna happen is that this is like a simulation room, and so it's gonna start, all these are like basically digital screens that start showing skyboxes. So actually, yeah, the glitchiness doesn't show up that much right now. It did before. Must have been at a very specific spot and I must have caught it, but I don't know, just so it's consistent, I'm gonna change all the sizes anyways. Because on consoles, I think that effect is a bit more extreme. Tend to see like things that are located in one place on PC tend to be at like a slightly different location on console. Like I saw that with the Stardew Valley, the database. Like on console, I see that the text is like merged into the screen, but on PC, I don't see that at all. So it's like the locations are different. So may as well be thorough when it comes to this. So yeah, that's what it looks like. There's several different skyboxes that show up because it's like every round it's going to be a different environment that's chosen, and it sort of affects the combat. It's gonna like add different modifications, whether it's like visibility issues, lower gravity, stuff like that, hazards. I just need to figure out where I was. Yeah, I was on this row. I think I was on this row. Yeah, was I literally just here? And then it's... Okay. Must have been there. Yeah. So what's going on here is that all of these are for different, like I have a boolean that determines which direction it goes, like which one it shows. Because if I just had like a separate command for each one, it just goes directly there, it would be even more nightmarish to work with. Like, instead of just a strand going to each of these center ones, it would be going to each of these, and it would just be a big forest of wires. So using this true Boolean filter just adds like a sort of node to branch out to. And I just need to turn on a Boolean for which one it actually turns on. Where am I now? Did I get lost again? Did I go full circle? Okay, I went full circle. Wait, no, this is the wrong one. I'm over here. Okay. Yeah, like, it's a useful way to organize things because it's just a way you can converge a bunch of lines to branch out. Like, it doesn't even actually have a functional purpose. It's just a node, an empty node that passes all signals through. Yeah, yeah, it is weird that we don't have access to those kind of shapes. Like if you just like, it'd be simple as like changing the radius of something, and the height and stuff. The only complication would just be how how it would handle the textures on it. Like because like these blocking volumes, they dynamically change the texture on it depending on its shape, and that might be a bit more complicated for a round shape. So okay, I was over here, right? Yeah. Yeah, though it's, you sort of have to rely on like these boxes sticking out of other things so that it hides the rest of it to be able to have stuff like triangles and such. You can pull off like a circle if you like spam a ton of squares and just rotate it very slightly, but that's also really expensive. I wouldn't say it's that as much as it is that people have lower expectations when people know the limitations of Snapmap. Like if I made something in Snapmap as like a standalone game, it would be a piece of crap, really. Like it'd just be a really cheap game that no one would be interested in playing. But when people realize, oh, this isn't a level editor, this isn't there aren't a lot of tools available to you, and you can still work around them, that's sort of the part that makes it impressive. Not that it's actually an impressive game in and of itself. Like how much money would you pay for a standalone version of Stardew Valley? Like, I wouldn't pay a cent. Well, the 3 was like just barely enough, but in some cases it didn't quite work, so the 4 is sort of just to make sure it works. And also, it was me going 3 at first, and then I think down here I have it like 2, because I didn't go all the way down. But then, but that was like since I was last working on it, and I just figured may as well overkill it, not just like stick at 3. just go at 4, because it's still going to be up below the glass, because the glass is width of 8. Yeah, that's... losing track of where I was. One second. Okay. Back. Was I here? Yeah, okay. But when I get all this out of the way, I can actually work on the fun stuff, which is the mechanics. Sort of very barely through that. Done a little bit of it, but it's very basic. Is that PlayStation publishing issue? Weird. It's strange that it's not like happening consistently for you anymore. Because I remember that that was a thing, and I think even Taylorhead still has it constantly affecting him. Although yet I don't think he's tried in a long time. He's definitely started working on his own standalone projects. I think he's doing Unreal Engine. Which I sort of want to do eventually, just as soon as I actually get some maps out that isn't 2 years old. New code? What does it mean by that? What do you mean by that? Like a new code? Like, does it actually change the map? Hey, Quantum. Are you on PS4, Quantum? Oh. Different ID. But, so there was no point where you did like a save as or anything? Weird. I don't know why I would do something like that. Okay. Took that long just to do another row. Yeah, this is going to be quite a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm like halfway. And it just gets longer and longer. Quantum, have you seen anything about this map? This is the Simulacrum. I posted a couple videos about it like a year ago, and I just sort of stopped working on it after a while. What I plan on adding on top of the skybox chaining is I sort of want a transparent blocking volume to have an animated slide from the bottom and start going up, and then as it goes up, the like these blocks are going to sort of be the physical structures of the that is part of the environment. So it'll overlay like a rock texture on it if it's a supposed to be a rocky environment, or overlay, yeah, plant life or anything really. So like sort of as the volume goes up, it adds those textures onto it. But that's gonna be something I save for last, because having a volume, like an animated volume sliding up from the floor like that, is gonna get in the way of everything else I want to put in it. So that's just something I'm leaving for later. Now what's funny is that this class in particular has like an evade ability, but like I came up with this like before even Doom Eternal had like any trailers for it, and it just and now it's just become something that is part of custom mechanics for Doom Eternal, just out of coincidence. It has this thing where you got the speed boost. Oh, you haven't? Okay, yeah, I'll show you what the dome looks like. So like right now it started with these empty screens, and then here we go. So it puts the skyboxes on it, and there's multiple different skyboxes that that it can choose from. Yeah, like this was a year ago, so this was even before, like, you can even see the upload date of the video where I sort of demonstrated it. Like it was long before there was a trailer that showed anything about Doom Eternal. And there's sort of going to be a McCree inspired thing from Overwatch where you eventually unlock like bonuses and upgrades to your different abilities. So for example, yeah, with the McCree thing, it will automatically reload your weapon if you use the evade. There's gonna be like a cooldown on this. This was just to just test with it first. So it would reload your weapon, and that's going to be important because another ability of this class is that your damage, when you hit enemies, your damage will increase gradually until you reload, and then it'll reset. But if you get a free reload from like the evade, then it won't reset it, and so you can use that to your advantage to keep your damage acceleration going. And in addition, you can swap your weapon instead of reloading, and that will cancel the reset as well. So it's sort of I want all the abilities to work together and sort of help each other out. And so they're not just all like these disconnected random abilities, they're like the upgrades to them will also improve the ability to use your other abilities. And the level up system is mostly just a way to gradually introduce all these mechanics. Although there'll be sort of like bonus objectives you can do in different waves as a way to get additional XP, so that it's not just everyone's going to level up at the same time because of the same enemies and stuff. It's going to be like you can choose to do extra risk to level up faster. And there's 4 other classes. This is just the one that's focused on flexibility in its reloading and swapping. It's sort of supposed to be like a non-stop barrage of attack. While the other ones are going to have a bit more constraints because of they're going to use more powerful weapons, but they're more restricted. More restricted in the fact that they have to reload or switch to weaker weapons. For example, there's a gunner class. He's going to have a really buffed heavy chain gun, because the chain gun in Snapmap by default is pretty terrible. Like they reduce the damage by like half, and so that damage is going to be a lot more here because I have like a custom weapon switching system. Every weapon has its own properties, because when you switch, you're just dropping the weapon you have and getting a new one. There's no way you can switch the other weapon and have the properties of the other weapon. So yeah, there's skirmisher, ranger. So he has the vortex rifle and heavy machine gun. Yeah, in this screen you can sort of see the stats of the 2 different weapons. Weapon mod. Oh yeah, there's no weapon mod for that. Welcome back, Duck. Yeah. I mean, it's literally like higher caliber ammunition that it's using compared to the heavy machine gun, the heavy assault rifle. But in Snapmap, it actually does less damage than the heavy assault rifle per shot, which makes no sense at all. So yeah, here's the gunner. Yeah, I don't think I have the ability set up for that. Oh yeah, I actually have power transfer set up. So this guy has a lot more armor to work with, but you can sacrifice your armor to temporarily increase your damage and speed. And then he has a passive ability which will enemies drop Argent energy that restores armor and pickup. So again, they're all working together. You can use power transfer to sacrifice your armor, but you also have a passive ability that adds more ways to restore that armor. And so yeah, again, they're working together. And then siege mode. Receive ammo, increase fire rate for a period of time. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're gonna have haste, but you're gonna be staying still. So you have to sort of rely on having a lot of armor to stay alive as you sort of take a lot of damage. Well, I don't have a lot of the mechanics set right now. This is mostly just showing what there's going to be, or at least what I want to have. The Technocaster is going to be the closest to like a mage sort of thing. He's going to have control over different elements, and I'm thinking of having like different elemental damage combined together to do super combines, sort of like how Mass Effect 3 does it. I'm not entirely sure on that yet, though. Grenadier. Oh damn, it's pretty slow. I don't even remember him being this slow. I guess I was so used to the other one. Right now I have this button to just enable abilities even though I'm level 1. So yeah, if I use my ability, I sacrificed all my armor, but I can move faster and my damage is up. Sort of the gimmick of this class is that his chain gun has a lot of ammo and you do a lot of damage, but when you're out, your reload time's going to be quite an inconvenience that you're going to rather switch to your pistol, and during that time, rely on that until it gets fully reloaded. And so it's sort of a start with a lot of power in your hands, and then you sort of have to let that cool down, and you're sort of losing. So it's sort of a tide in your power output. Also, I sort of changed the how the pistol works in terms of its damage. Because of how imbalanced the pistol is, like you only need a charge shot, and the rapid fire is not that useful. So what I have it is that I've rebalanced the damage of the pistol so that rapid fire does more damage. Not more damage than the charge shot, but the damage multiplier is higher so that the rapid fire is more feasible. And as well, the charge shot consumes 2 shots instead of just 1. So that should make it more of a personal choice of whether you want to use the rapid fire or the charge shot. Maybe for long range accuracy, you're going to want to use a charge shot. But you can also just rapid fire, and the damage should be enough for you to consider wanting to use it. One thing I do have set up right now is how the how you level up weapons. It's actually sort of like Warframe in that you get like 150 XP from like an enemy, but it's sort of distributed across your different things that you can level up. So I have my class I can level up, and I have my 2 weapons I can level up. You kill an enemy with a weapon, that weapon gets most of the XP, but your class gets some, and so does your other weapon a tiny bit. If you get a glory kill, it's mostly your class that gets most of the XP, and the weapon you have equipped gets some, and then your offhand weapon gets even less. And so you also have to sort of think about how you kill enemies so that you can keep all of them leveled up, because there's going to be a bonus to having your different stuff about the same level. There's going to be like a synergy bonus where your stats are enhanced for having all of your both your weapons and your class within one level of each other, so that it doesn't encourage you to only use one weapon and then just focus on that only. So yeah, that's how the classes are going to work. Though I'm not going to work on that for a while. I just want to get the dome out of the way before I do anything else. Okay, so I'm here, is that right? No, I'm in the middle of here. Okay. It's actually quite a nightmare to set up this dome to begin with, because I didn't like put all these down separately. In fact, what I did was I actually had this whole, like one of these strips of volumes down sideways so that I could use the degree snap, the angle increment, to have a consistent like angle and tilt on all of these. So I had them sideways, like a long curve like this, and then I rotated it 90 degrees, so that's pointing up. And it was sort of trial and error because I wanted to make sure that it sort of stopped at the center high enough so that the light source isn't blocked. Because if the light source is blocked, then I have to create all the lights myself, and I don't want to do that. And also it means you get all those weird spotlights that show up on all the different volumes that it's near, and I don't want that. Is the chat working? Oh, my chat was frozen. So yeah, I didn't see anything for the last 5 minutes. Master game volume? Really? Okay, see you, Duck. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't. Gaser. Turn master volume down a bit. Alright. So yeah, I guess, I don't know if you heard anything I was saying, so I'm not going to repeat myself. The development team that worked on MP and helped with Snapmap were the same developers who worked on Halo 4's multiplayer. Really? Well, that explains a lot. That explains why it was total garbage. Because, I mean, fuck Halo 4's multiplayer. And that's really interesting that they outsourced it. Certain affinity. Affinity sounds familiar, but I don't know. I don't know about certain. I thought it was something else. Mass Effect multiplayer. So in other words, they didn't have much experience because I mean, 3 for 3. Yeah, and then a bunch of ex-Bungie employees joined it anyways, but I guess they didn't have much of a say in it. Well, no, you see, they were just modernizing the game. They were just putting up to modern standards. All they need is iron sights and kill streaks. I haven't even played a single match of the multiplayer. It's just, I don't see any reason why I would. Like, Liz has to wrench my arm to even get me to play, like, multiplayer games that are good. And they are well fleshed out, but I don't know. It's not something I would play on my own volition. Well, one thing that's strange to me is that in the campaign, like, didn't they make it so that the heavy assault rifle had, like, no, like, accuracy loss? Like, it didn't have bloom. But then the multiplayer version that does, like, I would think it would have been the opposite, because bloom is like a fairly casual mechanic. Like, I would have thought they would focus on, like, there's no accuracy problems, it's all your skill when it comes to aiming. But, like, I don't know why they added, like, bloom, like, high amounts of bloom when it came to the multiplayer version of the heavy assault rifle. I was assuming that it's the same thing as the Snapmap's heavy assault rifle, and Snapmap does use the multiplayer versions of weapons. I mean, I'd figure, but it just seems strange to me that they would remove a mechanic that was more competitive in the, like, from the campaign and make it a non-competitive version of it in the multiplayer. Ironically, some of the multiplayer maps I see in Snapmap are more in common with Halo's arena, because it's all the same loadouts, and then you find most of the weapons on the map. still have no idea how people do those super jumps. But yeah, that's definitely akin to like the sword flying. Although the way they design like the campaign levels, it's not quite like how you would explore Halo 2's, because Halo 2 is like you're exploring like a large open environment, while a lot of time in the campaign it's either you're in these constrained industrial rooms, or even in the outdoors it's like these very limited like platforms like in the sky. I guess all I'll say to that is they know what their audience wants. But I wouldn't consider myself part of their audience. Because for me, I honestly couldn't care about any of the classic stuff they're putting in. It's just, for me, it just comes across as just they're just baiting people with this nostalgia, and I have a similar concern with Halo Infinite, where they're just it's a classic Master Chief suit and it's classic music, but that just makes me suspicious that that's all it's going to be. And it's just to make people ignore its problems. I mean, we haven't even seen any gameplay yet, so I can't even say what they're even gonna do with Halo Infinite. Hey, it has battle mode, which will last you for a whole 20 minutes of entertainment. And for me, it just seems sort of comparable to Evolve. And that game flopped because of its lack of variety of game modes. Like, you just chose a different monster you could play as. And then that was sort of all there really was to it, was just, you can try out all these different monsters you could play as, but it's only one game mode to play. And it basically died because of the lack of variety. I mean, hell, they had to make their game free to play just to get more people. I mean, how many FPS games have come out recently? I mean, I'm not going to try to speak for you, but I don't know, it just seems when people say that, that they just, in their head, they think, like, 90% of games out there are Call of Duty, and they're just clones of Call of Duty, which isn't really true at all. Yeah, they just better do something to make up for the Halo 5 weapon glitch, like something that makes it a feature in some way, or else no matter what else they add, it's basically going to be a content reduction, because the weapon glitch was like content. I mean, how we made a whole game mode because of a weapon glitch. We spent hours just seeing all the different types of weapons that you can make out of it. Like just screwing around all the different combinations. Yeah, I mean that has a lot to do with the publishers that sort of constrain what they can do with their game. Though it seems like Call of Duty is sort of going back to what made it good in the beginning, or at least since Modern Warfare. I mean, they have a bunch of people being like, oh, this game makes me really uncomfortable, and a bunch of game journalists are uncomfortable with the game, then there must be something good to it. Well, I mean, there's always going to be another game being made for it. Like, it's just sort of a tradition at this point. I mean, they have to pass it to different developers all the time just to... so that they're not, like, making the exact same thing. You're doing a LAN party on MCC? That's funny. But yeah, see you later. Yeah, you just have to wait maybe a year for this to be done. Well, it looks like nobody else is watching anyway, so may as well. Yeah, I'll just end the stream here, whatever.